Hey guys, Bible in a Year, episode 93. We're looking at Second Samuel 14 and 15 today. Absalom, oh Absalom. Not quite there for that little saying yet, but
Right.
Absalom comes into the picture here. So, join us. Here we go. All right. How are you there, Doctor?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. This is an interesting couple of passages. It's sad.
It's
me.
heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. Had David disciplined Ammon, I don't think we would have chapter 14 and 15.
Probably not.
But Absalom sees injustice, and he decides to take justice into his own hands in a very unjust way.
So I said this last episode. I think Absalom has some serious daddy issues.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when, people are like, what are daddy issues? Unresolved stuff with your father.
Mm-hmm.
And so many sons have so much unresolved stuff with their dad. They just never work through it.
Right.
And there's this weird, I hate him, but I love him kind of a deal. And, I'm not sure every son goes through that, but
A lot of sons.
A lot of sons do. And some people work through it and some people don't, I mean, my dad has come to a point in my life where I told myself my whole life he was my hero. And now he actually is my hero. You know what I mean? My dad and I have grown into this beautiful, beautiful relationship. This never happens with Absalom.
No.
It never happens. He's always wanting his dad to be something that for him, his dad never is.
And
for a
interestingly,
variety of reasons.
David longs for it too.
He does.
But they don't connect.
Isn't that funny? And that was the other part that I was going to say. Joab, not David's son,
Right.
but clearly a guy who has stood by David's side for decades now. I mean, decades he stood by David's side. And Joab he loves David, but David's just never quite right for Joab. And so when you read 14, Joab,
Right.
son of Zeruiah, knew that the king's heart longed for Absalom. Like, he
Yes.
knows him.
Right.
But they're both manipulating the relationship. Absalom is, Joab is. So, I mean, there's my little 2 cents as we begin this.
It almost feels like a manipulation on Joab's part, similar to Judas.
Oh, gosh.
Trying to get
Forcing
the one.
of the hand.
Right. Trying to force his hand. Trying to make something happen that he thought should happen. He winds up playing both sides here. And it gets messy.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, walk us through
we have
this.
Absalom's rebellion is what we have here. He was an opportunist, though.
Yeah.
His hair is already mentioned. That's kind of an interesting thing.
75 pounds or something
Yeah,
like that. What was it?
I mean, I'm
Something
just
ridiculous.
glad to still have hair, But the thing is when that becomes sort of what you're known for, there's a pretty good chance he's pretty proud of it. It's interesting, the things that oftentimes we're very proud of become our downfall, but we'll talk about that later. But he was an opportunist. Charm is what he used. And it's interesting, in verse 6 of chapter 15, it says he stole the hearts of the people. He didn't just win the hearts, he stole the hearts. This was purposeful manipulation on his part.
Joab pulls a little trick on
Right.
David to get him back. Absalom comes back, so he's kind of restored into the city.
Right.
I know there's a little bit of a distance when he
Right.
gets there. He sets up shop at the city gate.
Right. And again, David didn't discipline Ammon. He doesn't discipline Absalom.
Nope.
He's lost his mojo when it comes to discipline because he's so broken. And so what happens is Absalom begins to steal the hearts of the people, and he begins to proclaim himself as the new king.
I think there's something that people do. I'll add one little thing in here before we start really transitioning over to 15. I think some people either go through so much turmoil or hate turmoil so much that they literally won't do anything about tumultuous situations.
Right.
And it just creates more tumult.
It does.
I mean, it just does.
We're weary. We don't want to say the hard thing. We don't want to hurt people. There's a difference between hurting someone and harming someone.
What's the difference?
We all will have to hurt someone. I remember a professor in college one time who said something very, very hurtful to me. I saw it as harmful. Looking back, he was actually trying to correct me. He was right. He hurt me. He did not harm me.
I've said this a lot of times. God will break your heart, but he'll never break your spirit.
Right.
He gave you your spirit.
Right.
He is
Right.
he is the life-giving
Right.
spirit.
Whenever I have to say something to someone that hurts them, I have to ask the question, am I doing this for the purpose of bettering them, helping them? Then I'm on pretty safe ground. I still need to do it very, very carefully and in love.
Super quick example. So I told you I've started this Masters of Divinity program, after the Masters in Counseling. My research paper writing professor, which you have to take this class at the beginning because that's all you do.
Right, that's all you do.
That's all grad school is writing research papers, and it's a different style of writing than the scientific side, which is APA style. This is Turabian or Chicago style. So they have to teach you how to write in that style. Let me tell you something. I was ready to kill this guy. I was ready to kill him. I'm glad I had him.
Right.
I'm glad I had him.
Right.
He
hurt you, but he didn't
didn't
you.
harm me.
Right.
But at the beginning, I
Right.
thought this is
Right.
harm. So, all right.
And I think David sees any
Yeah.
correction as harm.
Yeah.
He's afraid to hurt anybody
Oh, my
anymore.
God.
And so now it comes back on him.
So can
and-
I say something?
Yeah.
So we're talking before this.
Mhm.
So you guys know, we always go through the podcast before we do the podcast
Right.
so that we're on the same page and we're talking. And you guys have heard me say this before, those of you that know me and know my ministry. I love finding things in Scripture
Right.
that I've never seen before.
And probably read several times.
Oh, I have it highlighted.
Yeah.
And I never picked up on this. Okay, so Absalom comes in,
Right.
wins the hearts of the people, and David. Go
Right.
ahead.
And they're fickle people, right? They so easily move over to Absalom, right? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
they just, which is
Yeah.
crazy. But there are people who don't just sway.
Right.
These people are people of substance. And when Absalom gets to this place of power, and David's got to get out of Dodge.
Up over the Mount of Olives into the wilderness.
So we're 2 Samuel 15 here, starting with verse 13. David is fleeing. What's the keynote here?
With 600 people from Gath. Wait a minute. I said this way back when. We're going to hear about Gath. Gath is the place where Goliath comes from. Gath is the place where King Achish, he goes and he feigns insanity and they kick him out, right? It's also the place he comes back before he becomes king of Judah even.
Yep.
And he serves King Achish, and King Achish calls him a bodyguard for life.
Whew.
Okay, so then he conquers Gath after he becomes king. These are people who are the children of the men killed in battle with Goliath. They are 600 people from Goliath who are so loyal to David, even though they think he's no longer king, that they escape with him.
Unbelievable.
Now that's integrity of leadership that gathers people who are willing to follow you even to death.
If people are wondering, this is 2 Samuel 15, verse 18. All his men, all David's men, marched past him along with all the Kerethites and the Pelethites and all the 600 Gittites who had accompanied him from Gath, marched before the king.
Yeah.
The king said, and I love this line, the king said to Ittai, the Gittite, "Why should you come along with us?"
Right.
And David gives him permission to be fickle.
Go ahead, yeah.
Go back and stay with King Absalom. He even calls his own kid king.
Yeah.
Raised his hand to the anointed. He's the anointed. Raised his hand to himself. You're a foreigner, an exile from your homeland. There'll be one law for the native born and the sojourner among you. Rahab, Ruth,
Right.
Uriah the Hittite.
Right.
Okay? You came only yesterday. You are a foreigner, an exile from your homeland. You came only yesterday. And today shall I make you wander about with us when I don't know where I'm going? Go back and take your people with you. This is
Yeah.
Naomi going, what am
Yeah.
I going to do?
Your
Have
people
more
will be
babies
my
and you're
people.
going to wake. And,
Right.
and that's what Ittai is doing here. And that
Yeah.
kind of loyalty blows my mind.
Right, right. But they saw something in David.
Mm.
In spite of his sin, they saw an integrity. They saw a character. They still saw the man of God, even though I'm not sure David still saw the man of God in him.
Well, and let's think about what we've talked about in this. Absalom wants a David that he isn't seeing.
Right.
Joab wants a David that he isn't seeing.
Mm-hmm.
David, he's lost in and of himself at this point, but still after God, which is beautiful. And these people,
They see it.
they see it, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, isn't that crazy that God sends people from Gath to David to say, no, man.
You know, sometimes the best way God encourages us is with the people around us, because oftentimes they can see things in us that we can't see in ourselves. And sometimes we need to listen, because they can call out the things that they see that are godly, that are character, and we need to listen. And I'm needing to listen to what I'm saying right now.
The funny thing when
Yes.
when you were just saying that, I'm thinking, man, we had a good lunch yesterday, and I need to listen. I need to listen, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think we need to say anything else about these 2 chapters unless you want to bring anything else out.
No, I think it's good enough.
Holy smokes, that was amazing. All right, well, this was a little bit shorter, but guys, I think God might have just spoke right there. So praise God. All right, guys, we'll join you tomorrow. God bless.